Hello and welcome back. This is episode 34 and we are playing Control.
Director Faden here. Dispatch a ranger to this location.
Yeah, that aim assist is actually insane. What the fuck was that? Where are they? There is so much going on. I have no fucking clue what's happening here. Jesus Christ, what's happening? I don't even know where she is, where what is. That was her. I don't know who I'm shooting at or anything. Jesus fucking Christ. I can tell you straight away that this would not have worked without the cheats. Holy fucking hell. Where is she? Like, she's throwing 16 fucking grenades at the same time. Come on, die. Oh my god.
The nail is corrupted. That explains why
that
the
was
board
with
wasn't answering
cheats.
what's causing the quakes.
Holy
I
shit.
came down here to stop this. I should have been with her. I could have saved her, but I can still save everyone else. fuck you too.
Oh, I'll be sure to.
Let's play it smart. They don't need to know I'm onto them. Not yet, anyway.
Okay, return. I don't even know which way we came in. Oh, maybe there's a way out. Whoa. Nope. Or yes, actually. What the fuck now? No, please tell me we're not.
The hiss can't touch it. I can't undo the astral bleeding in the Foundation, but at least it stopped.
Along with the seismic activity. You did it, Jesse. Did you ever find Marshall?
I did. She's gone. She died thinking she'd save the Bureau. Not a bad way to go. I wasn't ready for this crisis. I didn't even see it coming. But I promise I'll be ready for the next one. I mean, what good is a director who can't hold her bureau together?
That's the end of the DLC, The Foundation.
I thought I know how to handle things, now that I'm the director. Clearly, it's not that simple. I need to choose a direction for the Bureau. It should be one that serves our goals, not the board's. Whatever those are. I need to lead my way.
Oh. Control it. So, the Foundation is done. There is a part we haven't been to, but we're not gonna go there. Gonna go up and talk to Emily. She has something
If it isn't my
to say.
favorite direct. Now that this nail business is handled, I should probably be getting back to executive.
Yes.
But maybe I'll keep poking around. Just for a little bit.
Has the nail been doing anything since we restored it?
Define anything.
Anything unusual?
Define unusual.
Emily.
Sorry, but the answer is a whopping yes. Now that it's whole, the nail is emitting a constant field of, well, think of it like low-level radiation. It seems to suppress any biological matter it encounters. This explains why nothing grows here and why the Bureau had to abandon the area. Prolonged exposure would certainly begin affecting neural processes.
Wait. Was the field created when I cleansed the nail?
I considered that, but the nail's readings are quite different from the ones I recorded at the cleanse control points. I think the nail's field is purely of its own making. In fact, I think it would passively prevent any His corruption, like the HRAs do. Which makes me wonder what actually occurred when you cleansed the nail.
I've been wondering about that myself.
Did the board let the hiss corrupt the nail? Did they want me to cleanse it? If so, why?
What do you know about Director Northmore?
Well, he was Director Trench's predecessor, and Northmore's famous for being the first board-appointed director. See, before we found the oldest house, directors were picked by committees of old men in suits, drinking cognac and smoking cigars or whatever. You know, standard, uninteresting methods.
I think the word you're looking for is bureaucratic.
Or antiquated. Regardless, Northmore was eventually forced to... Well, we don't need to go into that. Strangely, the only two board-appointed directors left the position under unusual circumstances. If the board appoints a director, then how do they retire them? I doubt they go out and buy you a gold watch. Sorry, Jesse, I didn't mean to imply that...
Don't worry. If anyone's getting shown the door, it's them. What do you know about an entity named Former?
I can't say I've heard of it. You got any details for me?
Well, imagine a one-eyed bug thing. I think it was a part of the board, but then something happened and now it's... separate?
Interesting. See, I always wondered if the board was some sort of entity or a group or conglomerate of linked consciousnesses, but this supports the group theory. Although it could have undergone some sort of corporeal exile. Too many unknowns to form a working hypothesis yet, but I can prioritize this matter in future astral dives if you think it's important.
Fortune favors the prepared. Do it. I'm gonna keep looking around.
I wish I could go with you, but I still need 30 hours of training before I can do field work.
We'll work on that.
Great. Let's get all back to executive. Ooh, we have 3 more ability points. What do we do? Nope. That would be so nice. Hold and launch up to 3 objects. Energy now recovers while holding launch objects. We're gonna fast travel. We're gonna fast travel to Central Executive. Perfect. Ooh, she's back here now.
Sorry, ma'am. I took them. Darling asked for any visual materials to be...
Do you remember Mr. Tomasi, the head of communications? The hiss he was changed into showed up in containment, near the turntable.
I'll take care of it.
That thing's not getting away this time.
I've heard reports about his particular use of language and intonation when repeating the hiss babbling. The biological and behavioral distinctions between different hiss-corrupted individuals is truly fascinating. I wonder if I could categorize the data.
And she's already off on her own thing.
How do you feel about me taking over as director?
You act like it just happened. You've been director since we first met, remember? I am still thrilled. Nothing's changed. Not for me. But the Bureau has changed. Trench and Darling are gone. Their knowledge, anything not written down, disappeared with them. They knew the Bureau better than anyone.
They're the Bureau's past, Emily. We won't operate like they did. We'll learn from their mistakes. We'll be better than they ever were.
We won't ever be like them.
When the hiss got into my head, I saw some weird things. I think Darling even spoke to me. Does that make any sense to you?
Empirically, no, but phantom voices as well as hallucinatory states are not uncommon here. And considering the forces that Dr. Darling was working with, he could have been transferred to a different plane of consciousness, physically or otherwise.
And that doesn't upset you?
Oh, very. And the fact that he hid those forces from me, it's infuriating. But Darling's dream was always to look beyond our reality. This time he may have taken a step too far, but as long as his consciousness can perceive his surroundings, I'm sure he's loving it.
Maybe Darling was just trying to protect you from the darker side of his work.
Fuck that. I'm not a child. Like, don't just assume I'm gonna consider something morally repugnant.
Which it all was.
Which it all was, of course.
How was Dylan?
The same. I can't detect any his activity, but his physiology has certainly been altered by it. And I can't tell if his brain activity is genuine or simply the aftermath of the hiss, like spasms. Dylan could wake up tomorrow for all I know. I really can't say.
Then I just have to wait for him. That's fair. He waited a long time for me.
Don't worry. We'll be monitoring him round the clock. If he wakes up, we'll be ready. I don't mean that in a hostile way, just... well, you know.
I hear you. My brother isn't exactly popular around here.
I hope one day he'll have the chance to change that.
So, there was a moment after Hedron died that I couldn't feel my powers. The hiss got into my head. Just for a moment.
So that explains the HRA outage. Before we knew what was happening, the hiss had us. They were in my head. I saw terrible things. I mean, I was about to go under forever when the hiss was pushed back. The HRAs had come back on. Dylan vanished afterwards, and we fought off the hiss that came after him. So if Hedron's death knocked out the HRAs, that means there must be a new local source for them to relay, which I'm guessing must be...
Me.
you. Hedron is dead, assuming that word even applies to a resonant-based life form. But whatever it awakened in you, the power you call Polaris, is still active. Or at least, that's what my instruments are telling me.
I don't think we're ever gonna understand all of this. And I'm okay with that. I'm just glad you're here with me.
That's good to know. Thanks, Emily. I found Dylan attacking the astral plane and the board. What was he hoping to accomplish?
Huh. Since they arrived, Hiss have been corrupting objects of power, which have an inherent link to the astral plane. Maybe their goal was to access the astral plane and the board itself.
That still doesn't tell us why.
His motives are a difficult thing to work out, but I have been digging through confidential files and noticed a strange gap in knowledge regarding the board. Looks like any data on them has either been deleted or was never gathered in the first place.
Then maybe it's time someone looked into that.
Maybe it is.
Well, I've got a bureau to run. See you soon.
Yes, ma'am, Director Faden.
Please, Emily. Not even as a joke.
Yes, ma'am, Director Faden.
Who moved my waveform?
Sorry,
Let me just check this out. Multimedia.
Nobody else hears the house.
Already heard that one. Departure. I think we've already heard this one as well. Yes. Okay. We've got 3 ability points. Do a better ground slam. We do want this one. But probably... Can we do any upgrades? Grip or shatter. I'm using pierce and something else. Corrupted sample. Okay, let's
Good to see you, man.
let's go and do AWE. Sorry, that's not what I wanted. This is what I wanted. AWE should be sector elevator. This, a dark place. Jesse receives a strange vision that mentions the investigation sector. She decides to look into the matter. Yes. That should be... the AWE DLC, yeah. Wow. Okay, explore the investigation sector. Do we have a map here? We do. Wow. Oh. Okay, so we're gonna have to go through the break wall.
Hello? Anyone here?
Guess not.
That's okay.
Seems a lot more crowded.
Okay, missing agents. Mr. Kirkland. Here are the latest agents confirmed missing, presumed dead from the containment breach yesterday. Anyone we recognize? No, not really. Letters of condolences will be delivered to you to sign prior to sending them to your families. You will be updated as soon as additional confirmations are made. Also, per your request, the network engineer checked how many cases were backed up digitally. Unfortunately, a large number of active investigations were not archived yet, and the only hard copies of reports exists behind the firebreak. The lost, I'm afraid.
Dead than the rest of the Bureau.
That's where I came from. Let's, ooh, there's an upstairs as well. Probably gonna be a lot of information here. Darling investigation. Per authorization from Mr. Kirkland, internal investigation was launched into the ethical practices of Dr. Casper Darling, head of research. Despite the accounts of anonymous regarding inhumane treatment of a currently housed in the Bureau, our official findings regarding this were inconclusive. Numerous obstacles arose during these investigations. The majority of sector personnel seem to be wholly unaware of any such contained here. One confirmed the code name to be but all files pertaining to that name were inaccessible. Being classified on the highest clearance level, investigators were similarly blocked from entering the research wing to interview its staff. The matter was further complicated by the lack of clarity on whether non-human paranatural entities warrant humane treatment. While this investigation cannot address any charges against Dr. Darling, we do recommend an investigation into research. Case inquiry. Mr. Dennis, a request came through recently from the FBI agent asking for all our files on Bright Falls, specifically on the disappearance of the author Alan Wake. Per the Interagency Information Exchange Agreement, I had some paper pushers gather up a folder of all pre-approved files. Don't worry, all the inappropriate material is either missing or redacted. But I'm writing it to let you know that we received this request from a special agent named Alex Casey. Sounds familiar, right? That's because Alex Casey is the name of the fictional detective in those hard-boiled criminal books Alan Wake wrote. Pretty interesting that an FBI agent sharing a name with the most famous character Wake wrote is looking into a case dealing with a writer's fiction coming true. I think this is worth looking into, but what's your opinion? Just give the word and I'll start surveilling on this guy. Special Investigator Gleason. Okay. No staircase there. You have one of these energy things. Guessing. Gonna be another one. Cauldron Lake update. It happened again, third time this year. Something clearly has it out for our Could be raccoons. The locals certainly complain about them enough, but why the hell would raccoons keep going after a monitoring station? Doesn't add up. Anyway, I've got a bureau tech going to the site next week to take a look. Next on the list of reoccurring problems is the staff at the Lake House Research Station. How am I supposed to effectively keep an eye on Lake if they won't let me see any data? Hell, I don't even know what they're researching out there. We need to petition them again to share their info with investigations agents. It's only a matter of time before this hits again, and I want to be prepared. Anyway, if anyone at HQ asks why the Bright Falls report is a little thin this month, tell them it's because we can't take any readings. In the meantime, I might invest in some raccoon traps. Sincerely, Agent Estevez. Now let's check the map. Yeah. Let's go upside. Upstairs. Multiple things too. Out with this file. Underhill background. Dr. Raya Underhill is a professor at University of Woodrow in the United Kingdom, where she teaches biology with a focus on botany. Dr. Underhill once worked with the Bureau as a parabotanist stationed in the research sector of the oldest house. She served with no incidents or demerits and is praised by those who formerly worked with her, including Dr. Darling. Dr. Underhill has no known connections to paracriminal organizations or any record of breaching her NDA since leaving the Bureau. Her civilian behavior has been ideal, with the exception of an ongoing personal relationship with Dr. Darling that appears to have begun during their time as co-workers in the research sector and revisited intermittently ever since. Depending on the duration of her work in the oldest house, it may be required to have both parties sign a relationship clearance form. This investigation has found no compelling reason to deny Dr. Darling's request to offer Dr. Underhill an interim position with the aim of finding a solution to the mold threshold issue. Ooh, a box. What do we get? Weapons mod. We're full. Shatter projectile. Choke. I don't think we want that anyway. Another file. French official warning. Kirkland, I'm growing tired of your blatant attempt to lay your incompetence at my doorstep. I know you want this to be true, but you are head of investigations. This failure is your responsibility. What did you think would happen holding a dangerous specimen in investigations? The contaminant sector exists for a reason. They are better trained and better equipped for this type of work. In fact, they have admirably taken on certain AWE monitoring responsibilities that your staff are no longer capable of. This happens more and more now. Don't think your petty internal investigations have come past my notice. You are a worm. Everything I've done has been for the benefit of the Bureau. The prime candidate program only failed because of Darling. You're both failures plotting against me. You are traitors, but the truth will emerge out of you. You're choosing to become my enemy, Kirkland. You don't want to be. Zachariah Trench, Director of the Federal Bureau of Control. And there's another one. Director Investigation. Per authorization from Mr. Kirkland, was launched into the of Director Zachariah Trench. A recent change in witnessed in Director Trench, including aggressive when with other staff, has been observed. However, this investigation is aimed at interpreting this issue rather than proving it. Notably, between Director Trench and Dr. Darling has been witnessed by numerous Bureau staff, although both declined to meet for an interview on the matter. Witness accounts suggest their arguments center around the Dimensional Research Wing and the kept inside. However, no evidence exists to confirm Dr. Trench's as anything more than interpersonal disagreements. This investigation has concluded that Director Trench's behavior is not indicative of any and that his fitness to lead is not in question. Refer to for a full report. Okay, that was this room. And go down again. So, we're going that way. Guessing we're going up there as well. Let's just read this file. Staffing issue. Mr. Denny's. So yes, there's an increase in AWE cases, and yes, it would be a good idea to put together a special task force to examine exactly why that is. However, it seemed that a little tiny detail has slipped through the cracks. We don't have the damn staff. If you expect us to detect, investigate, and process more AWE cases, you need to give us more people. It's simple math. Between the staff we lost in the Hartman thing and the ones who left for the other departments after Kirkland quit, we're barely managing to keep up with the workload. Hell, just filing the paperwork for all the altered item we left behind in the sector has been an ordeal. Another thing, and this is going to sound paradoxical, but we have an overcrowding situation. This lab isn't meant to accommodate a whole sector's worth of staff. But we put forward a motion to move investigations to a more suitable location months ago. It better not still be sitting on your desk. The people are getting restless, and as Kirkland's interim replacement, it's your job to handle it. Best regards, Agent Grayson. So we've got a control point in there, but I'm not feeling that right now. Resignation letter. To whom it may concern, it is with great anger and regret that I tender my resignation as head of investigations for the Federal Bureau of Control. I do this in protest of the rampant disregard for my departments. My staff cannot continue to work in these conditions. Previous requests and warnings have fallen on deaf ears, so I must now rely on my actions to speak louder than my words ever could. I blame this situation on our who has routinely ignored my request for assistance in reclaiming the parts of the investigation sector lost to the loose inside. I will never forget the screams of brave agents begging for us to open that firebreak. I will carry that shame for the rest of my days. The has failed his agents. I shall never forgive him for that. Okay, so we get both sides of the story. Supplementary materials. Note: miscommunication led to a local coroner examining the body of William Burrow. William Burrow, male, Caucasian. Case summary: 33-year-old man found dead on his property per police report. Remains obtained for coroner's office also include blood, urine, bile, stomach contents, and bone fragments. Autopsy findings: blunt force injuries, head. Lacerations, left ear cheek, blunt force injuries, extremities, dislocation, right knee. Complete avulsion of the right upper extremity with associated fracture of the proximal right humerus. Extensive trauma, abdominal region. Complete avulsion of multiple organs, including stomach, heart, liver, pancreas, kidneys, and portion of the large and small intestine, all missing from scene. Conclusion: it is my opinion that Mr. Burrow's death is not the result of a mechanical accident, as claimed by authorities. The removal of organs is consistent with animal attack. Do kind of want to go in there. Do more of this. Keystone inspection. Mr. Kirkland, we stopped at Keystone on our way to target AWE like you asked. I'm sending my report directly to you to try and keep a lid on this Grumman Morales desertion issue. We didn't find any sign of them. Given their records, it is possible they've switched teams like you suspected, but I don't think that's the case. An event definitely occurred here in Keystone, and I think Grumman and Morales got caught up in it. The entire population has vanished into thin air. Reminds me of the ordinary case, but that was just adults, if I'm remembering the file correctly. This is different. I think our guys are casualties, not traitors. If it was an AWE, it seems to be over. We walked through the whole town, and the only strange thing we noticed were markings on various buildings. 2 overlapping circles with a dot in the shared space. Could be unrelated. I'll show you the pictures when I get back. In the meantime, you should send a team out here to cordon this place off and maybe get some comms guys working on a cover story. There's a lot of reading material in this area. Holy crap. Ooh, new type of ethics investigations. Per authorization from Mr. Kirkland, internal investigation P142-9 was launched into the legality of the prime candidate program by the Federal Bureau of Control. Since all known subjects relevant to the investigation used executive privilege to decline interviews, very little first-hand information was gathered. However, anonymous sources and documentation declassified by Mr. Kirkland both paint an alarmingly clear picture of systematic and were brought into the oldest house and placed under examination and testing with the aim of appointing one as director upon maturity. This program has produced no successful cases and only resulted in the traumatic of paranaturally inclined Not only is this a breach of the Ash Act, but it flies in the face of basic human This investigation team unequivocally the prime candidate program and recommends that it be immediately. Have we seen one of those power things? Item tractor procedures. Item is not in bureau custody, none known. A Frank elk tractor, olive green, dried blood on the grill when last seen. Item is capable of vocalizing responses or growls and unmanned locomotion. Considered highly aggressive and dangerous. The item first came to Bureau's attention after the death of William Burrow, owner of Burrow Farm outside of Trenton, Texas. Local authorities arrived on scene after an employee found the mutilated body of Mr. Burrow beneath his tractor. Police arrived but were immediately driven away by the tractor. Panicked calls to federal authorities were intercepted by Bureau communications staff. The team was dispatched. Upon arrival, the agents approached the item. It responded by growling like a bear. 3 agents were injured when they tried to detain the item, which escaped. Aerial searches for the item are ongoing. Speaking to Mrs. Burrow, it only revealed that she had a domestic altercation with Mr. Burrow earlier the night of the incident. Whether these events are connected is currently unknown. Okay, so we've got one of these. I'm guessing we're gonna need to power that thing. This yellow power cable goes where? It runs all the way down here. So, okay. Yeah. This thing is powered by that. So this is gonna say with no power.
It's not working.
Yeah. And
Probably a loose power core somewhere.
since I haven't seen any else, I'm guessing we're taking this. Bringing it in here. Hey. Can we just drop this thing?
Now that gate should open.
Yep, it should. Well, that side was powering. Anything else? Yeah, there's a file. Specimen escape assessment. The purpose of internal investigation X039-7 is to examine the containment failure of specimen SI1 that resulted in the deaths of agents. An inspection report of the containment equipment 3 days earlier showed no faults. Investigators suspect human error to be the cause, yet no department has provided any evidence to support this. Technicians were able to recover the researchers' notes on the specimen from the internal network. On the the specimen began displaying a sharp increase in aggressive Cross-referencing the date with various logs found only 2 events inconsistent with the sector's daily routine. 1, the air filters were changed, and 2, an hour prior to incident, a civilian named Alice entered the sector regarding an unrelated investigation. Given their connection to the same AWE case, it is likely that Mrs. His presence is relevant to the specimen's escape and to the investigation is ongoing. Okay. Let's cleanse this. Clean this.